So as most of you guys know, I am a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, and I was so excited with this Tom Brady decision just because I think it's fun. I'm going to allow myself to get excited by it. But then the next day, the Saints have to go out and sign basically the perfect guy that can beat Tom Brady. Maybe the smartest guy in the NFL, especially when talking about defensive players, Malcolm Jenkins. I thought I'd never had to worry about him again, but he is back with the Saints. And from a football perspective, this is an amazing signing, I think. I think this is exactly the kind of guy that the Saints would really want. And, I'm going to be unbiased in this video. This is just the perfect signing for them. What I love about Jenkins is that this is a guy who can literally do anything. Anything you ask him to do, he can do. And from the safety position, that's what you need. I mean, you need him to play strong. You need him to play free. You need him to rush the passer. You need him to stop the run, play in coverage. Whatever, this guy can do it, and he can do it very well. And it's not just that he can be okay at these things, he can really excel. One of the things that like I said, I think he's maybe the smartest defensive player currently in the NFL. He's certainly up there. If you're doing a top 10 list, he's on the top 10 list. And like one example of just his great football IQ will be shown on this play. He's going to be rushing the passer. What's going to happen is that he's running around like that. The tight end and the tackle who are in the game are not going to be picking him up. So this now means that the guy who's in charge of making sure that they block him will be the halfback. He's going to kind of run play action. He's going to run it around Wilson, but it will be kind of like a play action. And then he'll just run over and block Jenkins if he is rushing the passer, which, as you already know, because I told you, he is. And so watch how after the ball is snapped, you notice, this is perfect positioning right now. Very rarely will you see somebody be able to actually generate pressure. So much so, in fact, that Jenkins is going to just step back a little bit. And now you're thinking, okay, he's probably going to just go back into coverage. This is kind of what you'll see sometimes, is that you see somebody start off as though they're faking they're rushing the passer, but then drop back into coverage. The reason why you would do this is you can take away a blocker, but also still be able to drop back. People do this from time to time. It makes some sense, but again, as we know, he's not doing this. This is just a fake. And look how well it works out. He completely fools Seattle. Wilson goes down. Just a piece of brilliance right there. Something that very few guys in the league will even think of, let alone try to pull off, and definitely let alone actually be able to pull off. That's what he's bringing to the Saints. Is he's just a high IQ player, a very smart player that just knows what he's doing. This play is another really good example of his high football IQ, where it's going to be a cover one play, but the interesting thing here is what Jenkins is going to be doing. So he's in the middle of the field. So at this point, it's like, okay, typically you do a couple of things. Maybe you're going to rush the passer. Maybe you're going to just stay in the middle of the field. Maybe you're even going to spy Russell Wilson, but he's going to kind of do a combination. You see that he kind of steps back as though he's in coverage right here. That's smart, he's dropping back in coverage. This is what he's supposed to do. But when I say what he's supposed to do, a lot of times with these types of plays, they'll just say, hey, you go in the middle of the field and do whatever you feel is necessary. Do whatever you want. And the reason for that is because what he's doing is that he's sitting back and he's looking at Wilson, and he sees right now that Russell Wilson is going to try to scramble around. And Russell Wilson, as we all know, is elite at scrambling around. He's one of the best in the NFL to do it. So with Jenkins sort of staying back, but now being willing to run over to try to get to Wilson, it's going to give him a better angle to get to him than even if he just straight up rushed the passer. Because if he did just run earlier, Wilson could have seen that. He could have scrambled to the outside or something and would have had plenty of room to run. But instead, he's kind of just waiting until Wilson will just make a decision, till he shows his cards a little bit. Then Jenkins will run over. The downside in something like this is that, there's no chance of you getting like a sack in 2 seconds. So there is that downside, but honestly, the odds are that that's just probably not going to happen with Wilson anyways. So you might as well do this where you can have a tremendous upside in stopping the scrambling. And as you see, when Wilson does scramble around, Jenkins is able to run over and, he pushes him away. Wilson has to throw the ball away, so he totally disrupted that play. I also really liked how he showed off his patience on a couple of those plays. The game moves so fast in the NFL, a lot of guys just try to keep up. But once you've been there for a while and you kind of become a veteran of sorts, you sort of figure out exactly what you have to do. Like on a play like this, for example, he's going to be rushing the passer again. Basically what the Philadelphia Eagles want to have happen is what you see on the screen, where there's several offensive linemen who are just going up to block those two guys. You see that the right guard and right tackle are going to be double teaming somebody, and then one-on-one matchups, which would leave Jenkins right over there completely unblocked. Now, if Jenkins completely just rushes straight through, there's no way he's getting unblocked. He's, either the tight end is going to block him, a halfback is going to block him, somebody is going to pick him up. But again, with this many guys on the line, you're assuming that a good amount are going to drop back into coverage. And they're also running play action to try to make them move even closer up. Philadelphia, they're trying to stop the run here in a sense. But you notice Jenkins, and notice how he does drop back a little bit. So he's taking a step back. Part of this is he would be good at stopping the run now because he's in a better position. But also, now he has a perfect opportunity to get to Wilson since nobody is covering the edge. And that's exactly what he does. He runs so quickly, Wilson is not able to realize it, and he's able to help run over and get a sack. He honestly reminds me a little bit of Ed Reed in a sense, where it's like, I'm not saying he's Ed Reed, as good as Ed Reed, but just in terms of like the total chess match he plays. And that's kind of why I talked about it from the Brady perspective of, I do feel like he can be a Tom Brady killer, or at least somebody you want on your team that can help you try to slow down Brady. I would bring up Super Bowl 52 and how he was on the winning side of that, but at the same time, it's not exactly like the defense was the reason they won that game. But that being said, he certainly helped in that game, and he certainly will help, I think, the Saints in beating Brady and just in beating people in general. It's not like there's only going to be two teams that they're playing. Only 2 of the 16 games will be against the Bucs. There's going to be a lot more games, but even a guy like Matt Ryan, who's very smart, now he can help. He can really help you outsmart these guys. And really, no matter where he is on the field, he can find a way to have a positive impact. Like, take a look at this play. It's going to be a running play. That's the blocking concept that you see on your screen. They're also going to have Russell Wilson run out to the outside. Hopefully, that'll get that Philadelphia player to follow him, which can take him out of the way. And then it's just one-on-one matchups, and you still have a double team. So that's the idea behind this. So how is Jenkins going to help out? Well, you're probably going to wonder that even more when I tell you that he's playing free safety right here. He is the safety who is deep. So he is 15 yards away from the line of scrimmage, even a little bit further than 15 yards. So him being able to run over and help make this play almost seems like it shouldn't be possible. But look at how quickly he reads this, runs over, and is able to help run over and stop the run eventually. It would have been stopped regardless, but he was able to run over and help them stop the run. And that's just crazy considering the fact that he was so far away. The last thing you can do if you're a free safety is bite on a play action and have somebody get wide open deep. That would be disastrous. But he doesn't let that happen, really, because, again, that high IQ football style, it's really just tremendous to watch. He's one of my favorite players to watch. Watching him on tape, it's just so much fun. It's just crazy to see someone who sometimes takes me a couple of times watching these plays just to figure out how he saw what he was doing, and he can do it in real time, and he can do it while he's on the field where you don't have the bird's eye view where you can watch it easy. It's absolutely insane, no doubt about it. And one last play I like was this play where he's going to be going up against the New York Giants right here. This is a cover 3 zone. He's the safety who's deep. He's right over there. And after the ball is snapped, you're going to notice that he's rushing over sort of towards the bottom half of the screen. Well, why is he doing that? Well, he's doing it because he looks at Eli Manning and is reading Manning's eyes. He reads that Manning is looking over in that direction. So, okay, now you guys see it. All right, great play, read his eyes. Nothing too spectacular. You see guys do that all the time, but still a good play, right? Well, not exactly. Eli Manning isn't a dummy. Eli Manning knows what he's doing as well. And he kind of says, hey, maybe I can try to bait him. I can look sort of in the left side of the field, see if I can get him to move over, and then throw it to that receiver right over there who will be open in the back of the end zone. However, Jenkins is the type of guy where he knows exactly what his range is. So he sees that New York Giants player, and he's not going to completely abandon him. When Eli does decide to throw it there, Jenkins is able to run over and knock it away because he knew he'd be able to. He knew he was close enough to Golden Tate right there that he would have no problem running over and getting into the area. Again, that's just high football IQ of knowing your talents, knowing your opposing quarterback's talents. He knows Eli's not going to fire one 30 yards down the field with pinpoint accuracy, quickly enough that he won't be able to run over and make the play, even if he is a little bit far away. So that's what he's bringing to the table. Just elite intelligence, and having a guy like that will also just help everybody on that Saints defense. And I do feel like, as talented as that team is, sometimes, especially in the secondary, they'll get confused out there. So having Jenkins, that can really help them, I think. I think having a great high football IQ guy should help them a ton. He's a guy who's won a Super Bowl, so he's been through it all. I mean, it's a perfect signing. It's fantastic, a great fit for them. And if I'm a Saints fan, I am very happy. This is one of the more underrated, I think, but one of the real good signings so far that we've seen. I know he's getting up there a little bit in age, but he can still play. He hasn't lost a step yet, at least. I mean, I made that joke earlier of I thought I didn't have to worry about him anymore. The reality is he wasn't that great when he was with the Saints. He kind of really grew into his own when he was with Philadelphia. He was good with the Saints. He became great with Philadelphia. However, I just think that this is the type of guy who you really want him on your team. And as long as he can just do enough, as long as he can just be fine, which I think he can be, well, then having someone with his intelligence on the field, it just does so much. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on the Saints signing the 32-year-old safety. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys as high on this signing as I am? I'm very high on it. I think it's a great move for New Orleans. Let me know in the comments below. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.